You're not isolating because people suck. Sure, maybe you've read the books, you know attachment styles. I'm sure you can explain your trauma better than most therapists, yet you still end up on the couch thinking you just can't do people. What if it's not a personality thing? What if your nervous system is slamming the brakes so fast, so unconsciously, you can't even feel what's happening? Your brain's jumping in, trying to explain things, and you can't do people, you're better off alone. Meanwhile, your body is running a protection loop over and over again, and you can't see the loop. You just know the fallout. In this video, I'm going to explain that loop. I'm going to explain the exact mechanism that's keeping you isolated, even though some part of you wants connection. So we all have this desire to connect. Human beings are wired to be these social creatures. We go out and we look for social contact. And that might show up in a number of ways. It could be one-on-one. It could be with a lover, good friends, small groups, parties, work situation, family. Whatever it is, we go out because we actually have this need to connect. With people dealing with trauma, what happens is we go out and this threat response comes up. So you might enter the social situation and nothing's really happened. Nobody's insulted you, nobody's saying or doing anything that necessarily makes you feel like you're in a dangerous situation, yet your nervous system all of a sudden floods you. One way is activation, more of the fight and flight response. This could be a need to explain, to impress. One way or another, you are trying to manage the situation. Ultimately, you can look very calm on the outside, but on the inside, something is active. Something feels like, ooh, this energy can really come up within you and kind of make you want to get out of there. The other way that this can show up is shutdown. So this is going to be more of the freeze or fawn response. And this can feel very draining. Your body is saying this is too much. I don't like this situation. I need to get out of here. And whether it's going to an activation stage or a shutdown stage, your body is saying the same thing. This is unsafe and I need to protect you. Obviously, at this point, there's a breakdown. The connection fails. There's no warmth. There's no flow to the conversation. You're not really connecting with someone because people kind of feel like you're distant. Like they can't really connect with you, like something is going on with this person. You've probably been in situations where you felt this way about somebody else, where you didn't really know why, you just didn't want to be around them. And typically that's because, for whatever reason, their nervous system wasn't in a regulated state and you sensed it. So next we find ourselves in kind of a withdrawal period. And maybe it's leaving, the party or the social situation completely. Maybe it's just withdrawing more energetically. Maybe it's with a boss and, oh, I really gotta have a meeting right now. Sorry, I'll get back to you. Just get out of there. Basically, exit, escape, do whatever you have to do to end that uncomfortable situation. And as soon as you leave, you get this hit of relief. Your whole body kind of calms down. You start to get back into a regulated and relaxed state. And while this feels better, there's kind of a hidden trap here. You are essentially training your nervous system that connection activates you. Being on your own or escaping or getting away from that social connection, whatever situation you're dealing with, is relieving your symptoms. And all of this is happening unconsciously. The next thing that happens to people is the shame and the self-blame. because you don't see that this pattern is going on in these social situations for you. And so what do? You get off by yourself, maybe you're driving home, spending some time that night reflecting, and we have all these thoughts and things that come into our head. Whatever those things are for you start playing in our mind. And we go through this shame loop, ultimately with the underlying belief that we're not good enough. We can't connect. People don't like us. And when you have that, what you're doing is reinforcing to your system that connection is dangerous. Being on your own is relieving. And when you try to go out and connect, it just ends up in this shame spiral and you hating yourself. Ultimately, what you're teaching your system is avoidance. It should avoid social situations or whatever situation that your threat response or you're getting activated comes from. And so you avoid and you end up isolating. And then you're isolating for a while and you're on your own and you kind of start to be more regulated and you're feeling better. What ends up happening? Your desire for connection starts coming up. And the whole cycle repeats. This is where the avoidance loop comes up. And what is happening here is that our nervous systems are geniuses. And they're just trying to protect us and keep us safe based on this old patterning, typically from childhood trauma. So what it notices is that this whole social thing is causing all these problems. So anytime the desire to connect comes up, the nervous system looks at all those memories, says, let's not do that, skips straight to avoiding, which gives it an instant relief, makes you feel better in the moment, and then you're back to isolation. So you keep running this avoidance pattern. And you don't want to go out, you don't want to connect, you don't want to do this. The thing is, over time, what happens? The shame still comes in, because you're spending so much time alone. So then the nervous system decides to adapt again. And it says, well, wait a minute, we've solved this social thing. This person is spending all their time alone. They're not out socializing. That's not a problem anymore. We've taken care of that. The problem now is that this person has a desire to connect at all. So what does it do? Turns down the volume on the desire to connect and keeps running that avoidance loop. And what happens to people is when they isolate for so long, they're usually so deeply lonely that they don't even know it. Now we get into the forcing it loop. And this is where people try to use willpower. It's where most self-help books will tell you to just get out there, do it. The problem is your nervous system is still dysregulated. It's still getting fired and you're trying to beast mode your way through it. How's that going to work? It's not going to work well at all. Thing is, as human beings, we don't maybe consciously know this is going on. People can't explain this to you, but they can feel it in their body. They can feel when somebody has that needy energy. I'm sure you felt this yourself. The other problem with the forcing it loop is that sometimes it can work. And that's almost worse than anything. Because the people you connect with, usually other dysregulated people, people that you don't actually genuinely want to be friends with, but you're friends with them because you're coming from this place of desperation. And over time, it just reinforces these beliefs of you not being good with people, not being able to connect, something's wrong with you, all the different, self-criticism you might have around connecting with people. Where this comes from is childhood trauma. And I should say that's for people that this is more of an ongoing thing. And it's really just not having deep bonding connections, not having safety in connection, there being a lot of dysregulation in the home when you were a kid, It can really come from all sorts of things. It's typically around relationship and attachment wounds. And the more of that that's happened, the more triggers you have socially. The more often you're triggered, the less likely you are to connect. Then you'll look for relief, and the spiral starts. If this happens chronically for people throughout their lives, they kind of get to the point where they just give up and kind of just make this assumption about kind of their identity that they're just, a loner. There's somebody who likes solitude, even though they would be happier and feel more fulfilled if they were able to break out of this isolation loop and really have true, deep connection. Because we are social creatures who are wired to connect. The rule that the nervous system is running underneath. It is prioritizing safety over connection. So if connection was dangerous or questionable or emotionally abusive, your system learned that. You're not weak. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. Your system is running an old prediction process. I hope this helps make it a little bit concrete. You see somebody and they're doing something on their phone, and under their breath you can hear them kind of grunting and growling, and they're like, I'm such an idiot, and why can't I get this to work? And you look at the phone and you're like, what generation of phone is that? And they tell you that it is a first generation iPhone. Wouldn't you walk away kind of feeling bad for that person? Like, oh man, that person's really wailing into themselves, saying all these mean things to themselves, and they just have an outdated phone. There's nothing you could do. And when you have a little bit of sympathy for that person, and what I'm telling you is to turn that sympathy right around on yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. You just have an outdated iPhone. You have outdated predictive nervous system. And all you need to do, my friend, is update it. That's it. I know that there's all the stuff that we've told ourselves over the years. That was all nonsense. And it was simply just trying to protect you. So I hope you can show yourself a little bit of sympathy and really feel that. There are ways out of this that I'll talk about in another video. But for now, just see it. Be with it. Allow yourself to process this as some new information, maybe a little bit of insight. So, like I said, I hope this helps you. Until next time, my friend, keep trusting your gut, keep trusting your intuition. See ya.